Hey guys, so Instagram. Well, hey, I've joined. Interested to see how this platform will work out for me. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna really talk about life and things that interest me, obviously. But also the important stuff like politics and how it relates and just a whole, bunch of stuff. Something I'm not gonna do with work is I'm not gonna rep leave an agency I work for because I have my own experience. Bob has their own experience. Joe has their own experience. I just don't feel the need to either rep nor shit on them. Same goes for the clients I've worked with. I will talk a lot about the clients I have worked with and the experiences I've had. So if I've worked with you, you will probably know who I'm talking about. But I just don't feel the need. I take confidentiality really seriously. So yeah, good. No. So if you want to ask me, even if it's privately, who I'm talking about, I'm ignoring that shit. Also, I'm gonna try and be a lot more organic with how I record things. So, yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't feel the need to edit because, whilst yes, a really perfect video is really nice to watch, I'm me. I don't want to be a super polished version of me. The maximum I'm doing is I have a tripod with a ring light. That's about as polished as it's getting. So, let's jump in. It recently became very abundant to me how, I guess, disposable security guards are. And I understand there needs to be an ease to swap guards around for both the security agency and the client. But when you're doing that to get rid of a good officer, that's harsh. And there are many reasons why I feel this way. Like, when you do, for example, retail, you've got incentives and KPIs, and typically you have bonuses attached to that. Like when I was working in retail, when I was working for Mankind, during Christmas, we had incentives for selling, say, Ferrari watches or Boss watches. And for every watch you sell, you'd get points, and then those points turn to prizes. When you're in a higher end retail environment, you get commission. So for every item you sell, you'll get, I don't know, some places they'll just give you 1%, but then when some of the things you're selling is $500,000, 1% seems pretty damn good, to be fair. And the fact that that's not even taxed, so that's because that's seen as a bonus. You're kind of laughing, aren't you? When you're in sales, so like if you're working in a hotel and you're dealing with high-end clients, you want to book a ballroom, 5 meeting rooms, and God knows what else, you again get a bit of commission. So for most jobs, there is a way to be shown that what you do is respected. You don't get that in security. There's no, at least with my agency, there's no incentive for, you've stopped 6 thieves from stealing, well done, here's this. The max you get is like employee of the month or the year, which, I mean, I'm not trying to snub them or trying to be snide about it. That's a really good motivational thing. But you also get that in other jobs, as well as the incentives, as well as the commission. So, with our job is particularly difficult. It's long hours. It's with quite a lot of places you're by yourself. Like where I'm working now, I'm by myself, which, I mean, there are good things and bad things about being a lone worker. Insecurity. If you're a good guard, you don't have another guard potentially to tarnish your reputation, which is what I had in when working with a previous client. Yeah, so your job is difficult. You're blamed literally for everything. Like, I got blamed for not telling the senior sales advisor that we had extra items. Like, well, with respect, merchandising and marketing, that's your thing. That's nothing to do with me. My job only kicks in as if there is less items. Yes, if there is more, if there's one more item and then the item goes down by one, yes, that's extra work, but it's extra work for me, not as much you. So, yeah, we get blamed for everything. If there's more of something, if there's less of something, if something's being misplaced, if something's been this, it's like, do you want me to police your staff as well? Because last time I checked, that's the supervisor, assistant manager, and manager's job, not security. If they're doing something dodgy, then we're included. But again, when it comes to staff and internal stuff, the work is always going to be the manager. We just help provide evidence. That's it. Well, yeah, we get blamed for everything. Even if we're a good guard, it's just by default our fault. So being able to be removed from a site and from a client like that just sucks. Because sometimes you are a good guard. Like, I was working for a client a while back, and I was the type of person, and I still am, where if something doesn't sit right with me, I'll voice it. So we'd be told by like our director from the client side that, oh, we're going to implement this and we're going to implement that and we're going to stop this and then we're going to really focus on that and what have you. And myself, and at the time the security manager, the head of security, we'd both kind of agreed that some things don't make sense, or some things seem like they'd cause more headache in the long run. Which I feel, to be honest, is kind of our job. Like, we should be foreseeing issues and raising them. But anyway, so this particular story, what happened is this head of security got fired because he got involved, because he, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I believe the SIA would be concerned, he did his job. Like, he was doing patrols, seeing the guards and, just being present. He was on the first floor, from what I've seen on the CCTV. And there was a client on the ground floor who was gesticulating quite a lot, and from what I understand, he was very angry. Now, when you open an SIA textbook, one of the things you will see is that that those two things alone are indicators that something could happen. And I'm sure any of you psychologists will know that if someone's gesticulating and somebody is shouting and not saying the nicest things, that's not good. So the head of security walks down, says nothing. This guy realizes what's happening, that he is being checked up on, and he starts hurling racial abuse at the head of security. Like, he was saying that he's got enough money to send him back to his country and all sorts of shit. And this client, instead of going, okay, yes, you're about to spend mad amounts of money, but he works for us, we're not going to tolerate that. They fired the head of security for provoking this. But the guy was already pissed. Like, the fact that the security guard, or the head of security technically, the fact that he came to actually investigate what was going on, that's just part of the job. Because, say tomorrow I don't investigate this, and then a client advisor gets sparked in his jaw, that's my fault. And that's not in the, oh, he's security, we'll blame him. No, that's my fault. I could have prevented that. Or if I didn't prevent it, I could have been the one socked in the jaw. And that's, out of all the worst case scenarios, that's the better one, because my job is to protect the people I work with. But yeah, so they fired him, and Director of Security comes to talk to me so that I can take over. And he starts checking how I politically feel. Like internal politics. And I explained that I felt the decision to get rid of him was wrong. And that the principle of why we got rid of him was wrong. Because at the end of the day, that is the job. Like, you hear someone breaching the peace, you go and check and see what's going on in case something more serious happens. If it's someone like me who is just loud, like I get complained about from my friends and family, that I am a loud fucker, like that they would never need to worry about losing me because my voice carries, and I don't do that on purpose, then yeah, fine. Like, you see that and then you just go. Like, it's not an issue. But if the words that are being used are also kind of negative and in that kind of, I'm pissed at you, so I'm going to vent, he should have gone. And he didn't. He only started to talk and interact with this customer after the customer interacted with him. And knowing the person and having worked with the person, he was actually really calm about it. I've seen him get a lot angrier with customers before. Like, there was one instance that I was there where two males came in and tried to use a fake card. And when one of the managers noticed and tried to take the cards because it was stolen, they almost broke her fingers trying to get it back, and yeah, he got pissed and threw him out, in the literal sense of throwing them out. So yeah, he was quite calm with this gentleman, all things considered. And I just said that. I was like, what he did, there was nothing wrong with what he did as far as I can see. But I was man enough to say, like, look, this is your show, so if this is what you'd prefer, if you'd prefer something else rather, that's fine. And he said, yeah, I would prefer next time, if something like that was happening, for you to go and confirm with a manager if they want to get you involved. So I said, I disagree. This could lead to a lot of negative happening in the future. But as that's your wish, it is my job to enforce that wish. So he leaves, and I start to break the news to people that this is what we're implementing going forward. Now, a lot of the guards I was working with with this client in this location, they knew their job. A lot of them had been with this client before me. A lot of them are still with this client. And they've just been in security longer than I have. So they all naturally were like, no, you're joking, what the fuck, and all the lovely replies of enthusiasm of, yay, let's go do it. So me being me, I like to joke around, I like to mess around. I feel like work is stressful enough without you adding more stress. So I just turned it into a bit of a joke. And people accepted it more. It's like, so I was saying, right, so guys, what that means is, if you see or feel like there's going to be a fight or a customer's going to be violent, it is imperative that you don't pay attention to the customer that's getting violent. You go to a manager and ask if it's okay for you to approach this very angry person, because you don't want to get fired. So ask a manager if you can interact, because an angry customer is going to understand that you need permission before you get involved, and hold off on any potential attack he may decide to unleash. And yeah, then it was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, like, if that's what's being said, fuck it. And then I got removed. Soon after that, we were in lockdown. And then when we were easing out of lockdown, I got removed. And the reason that was given was that it could be any one of 4 reasons. It was not just me that got removed, there was a few people. So apparently my communication skills may have been lacking. If any one of you out there has worked with me, my communication skills, of all people. So I told my boss, yeah, that's a load of shit. My customer service. I used to work in a 5-star hotel. Trust me, ain't my customer service. So told my boss, yeah, that's full of shit. Could be my presentation and my appearance. And my boss tried to chime in and say, well, I mean, we have had to tell you sometimes to have a shave. And by this, I wasn't this hairy. Like, it'll be just a tiny bit of hair here and there. Say you've got like 5 o'clock shadow, but you're late for work. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to shave now, I'm going to shave tomorrow. That sort of, he's told me to shave. But it's not me coming in with like Joker green hair and makeup on, or having mismatched suit components. Like I wasn't wearing a black suit jacket with a grey waistcoat and black trousers. Nothing about my appearance would have been that major for you to go so far as to remove a guard. And there was I think it was something to do with timekeeping, which, for those of you who know me, I'm always at work. I start work, rather, 15 minutes early every day. And this is, again, something I started doing when I was working at the hotel. Something that the HR trainer had kind of pushed into me, and like almost it just becomes a mantra with regards to work that I have, which is to be early is to be on time, to be on time is to be late, and to be late is never an option. So it's not my punctuality. So why was I removed? You see what I'm saying? It's clearly not those four. So the only reason I can imagine is because, yeah, I had the audacity to disagree. People disagree all the time. I also said, never mind that I disagree, this is what you want, this is what I'm going to this is what I'm going to implement for you. Fine. I disagree, but this is what you want, and you're the boss. And what I got as a response was that it's their right to remove any guard for whatever reason they want. Now imagine you're working hard. You're doing 12 hours a day, 5, 6, and I think I've done it 7 days a week during Christmas. And for all your hard work, all the videos you've captured of suspicious people, all the communication you've had within the street you're situated in, with all the other boutiques and whatnot, all the undercover work you've done, all for them to say, thank you for your hard work, fuck off. Like that's just really shitty. And I feel like if someone's good at their job, even if you don't like them, even if you disagree with them, you should just get on with it. It's not that deep. Like at the end of the day, they're just trying to do their job and trying to do the best job they can do. If it was someone who was, say, texting you to say that there has been a theft on another floor of like £2,000 worth of stuff to come quick, which then forces you to leave another area completely unattended to check, only to find out that they were taking the piss, fire the fucker. Like, middle of shift, fire them. Fine. But not when they're actually hardworking, not when they're turning up every day on time and early, not when they're going along with pretty much everything you tell them to do, not when that sheer amount of work and the adaptability of this person has been unquestioned. I feel like this is something that a rule needs to be made to prevent, because yes, you should be able to swap security cards if you need to, but emphasis on if you need to, if what they do warrant it, not because they think ahead, or they don't just swallow everything you tell them but want to know more. Like, that's not a bad thing. in the job like ours, curiosity is key, because this is how you start to understand the flow of where you're working. Like the site I'm at now, I'm sure the staff there have done their nutting with me, because I am asking some really strange questions. I will put my hand up to it, like, oh, what are we keeping in here? Or what's the procedure if this happens? What's the procedure if that happens? Like the site we worked at, we prevented, and if not prevented, we caught so many thieves. I think in the time we were there, we had one successful external theft. One. And then they decided to break up the team. Like, and when I say successful, when I say we prevented and if not caught the thief, we had some guy swallow a ring. And we managed to keep him there and hand him over to the police. And what that meant is that they found another ring there that he had previously swallowed from another client. This is the team that they decided to start breaking apart. And for what reason? Like something like this. Please, any other security guards that may end up watching this, please let me know. Do you get this as well? Is this just something that my agency does and allows? Because if this is genuinely a thing across the entire security industry, I feel like we need to petition petition the government to put an end to something like this, because it's completely unfair. Like half the people who are working there now, they're so gone with the wind and so argumentative over the petty stuff. But yeah, when it comes to slightly more important things that could in the future have a negative impact, they'll be quiet for. Like they'll argue that they weren't using a phone when on the CCTV you can see them clearly taking a picture of something. But tomorrow if they get told, oh, if anyone looks like they're agitated or angry, ask a manager, they won't have the foresight to think, hold on, this could actually have some serious consequences. They'll say, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. But yet they'd want to argue about they're not using their phone. They were just taking a picture. I don't know. Yeah, I just feel like if this is just how the security industry operates, that needs to be changed.